Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
The Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content. Tune in and subscribe to Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Human traffickers, drug smugglers, and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked Border Patrol agents who were helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined migrants. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marcos' attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. But Marcos understands that the only thing the rich and powerful fear is bad publicity, and he records every encounter. Whoever he is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Baron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and maybe a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
I'm Tanner Hurley, and you're watching the Madness Comic Network. Get some!
We've all heard the stories. We've all heard the legends. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. But there's a secret history to the Old West. One that seems too strange to be true, but, well, we all know what they say about the truth. think the world is finally ready to hear the story of the strangest, the most startling Western hero of them all? Six-gun gorilla. Long days of vengeance.
Bringing you sex, sass, and style. Buckle up and unlock your imagination for a fun adventure with these death-dealing dames. They sail the galaxy in search of spoils. The most dangerous acquisition, and the most fruitful, are the legendary Splinters of Yggdrasil. The Splinters are magical artifacts forged from the Tree of Life that wreak havoc on the universe. The missions are perilous, but the bounty is glorious. Enjoy our hyper-fictional wonderland. How is a pirate ship sailing through space? 'Cause magic. How do they heal so quickly after battle? 'Cause magic. How are they able to communicate through jewelry? 'Cause magic. It's all about the characters. Abo, rough, robotic, ready. Mo, carefree, callous, courageous. Mistress Graven, daring, diplomatic, dominating. Betsy, academic, accountable, aristocratic. Nefara, ancient, assured, adrenaline junkie. Bruto, proud, prominent, protective. Fisty, independent, incendiary, invigorating. Roxy, superficial, scarred, secretive. Once you get to know this diverse crew of mythical miscreants, you'll be anxious to find out what trouble they'll get into on the next episode. Go to abogrizzly.com and order both halves of the first episode today.
So today I wanted to talk a little bit about Popeye. Now, Popeye is one of those comic characters, cartoon characters that I absolutely loved when I was a kid. And really, he was probably one of the first characters that I would draw as a kid. Besides like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, those were a couple others that I would draw all the time as a kid. But Popeye was another one, and that I would draw quite a bit as a kid. Now, I haven't drawn him in years and years and years, so you know, it might not look too pretty when I go to draw him later on or whatever here. So, but I wanted to kind of go through here a little bit and show a few things before we get into any kind of a drawing aspect. Okay. There he is. I am what I am. And that's, you know, that's classic, Popeye. That's absolutely, you know, was always his kind of message or mantra was, I am what I am. I'm just a normal guy, you know, basically. Oops. Anyway, here's a picture. There's a meme that goes around on Facebook all the time about every 3 months. You know how all these memes on Facebook start making their rounds all over again. We see them, and then we're tired of seeing them, and then we see them start going around again. And this here, I don't have the actual meme, but this is an image of the meme that says something like, did you know that Popeye was based on a real guy? And this is the real guy that Popeye was based on. This is him right here. Well, that's wrong. This is not him. All right. And I'm so sick and tired of that misinformation. And I know that in the world that we live in with misinformation is a big thing. You know, and I know that this might be kind of a silly one to get my ire up about, but it does. It just really bothers me. This is not Rocky Figo. This is not the guy that Popeye was based on. What this is a picture of is a photo from the winner of a Popeye lookalike contest in the 1950s. That's who this is. All right. He's a winner of a Popeye lookalike contest. This is not the guy Popeye was based on. This is the guy that Popeye was based on. All right. This right here. All right. And I believe his name was Frank Figo. And he lived in the town where the cartoonist that created Popeye. He lived in that town, and what he was the town fight scrapper, basically. He was an old sailor guy, and he would get into a lot of fights. He was the town, not really bully, but he was the town, the town guy that would, the town scrapper. So anyway, he smoked a pipe. I guess there's stories about this guy that he would be hanging out in the bar or whatever, and he would just clear it out. I mean, I've seen stories written about this guy where he seemingly had superhuman strength. So, anyway, this is the guy that Popeye was actually based on, modeled after, if you want to look at it that way. They're on me. But this is the meme that I'm so tired of seeing, where it says cartoonist E.C. Singer based his character Popeye on a sailor named Frank Rocky Figo. Figo was a local hero in Sigur's hometown, who had one eye, loved to smoke pipes and get in fights, and was rumored to have unprecedented strength. They always put this guy's picture. They always put his photo there. And that's not the guy. if you don't learn anything else tonight, please learn that that meme is wrong and that is not the guy. All right. This is the guy. This is Rocky Figo. This is really the only known photo of Rocky right here. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So it's really not going to be like a how do you draw Popeye type of situation or anything, but I'm just going to kind of do a Popeye sketch. And let me see here. Like I said, I've not actually drawn Popeye in a long time. I used to draw him all the time when I was a kid. And actually I would actually make a little bit of money with my drawings as a kid in school. You know, kids would want me to draw things for them. And I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids that always could draw things, and everybody wanted me to draw stuff for them. I remember one time I drew, a kid wanted me to draw a portrait of Richard Nixon, which I thought was weird, but I'm like, oh, okay. But really the reason that I did it was because I really liked his sister. And he told me, he said, hey, he said, if you draw this picture of Richard Nixon for me, then I'll tell my sister that you like her, and I'll get her to, like you back and stuff, which when you're in like, I don't know, like 4th grade, I think it was, or whatever, yeah, you don't realize the world doesn't work that way, but whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, man. Yeah, I'll draw you this picture of Richard Nixon, no problem. So I drew him the picture. Now, Popeye has this sideways mouth. But I drew the portrait of Richard Nixon and gave it to him, signed my name at the bottom, of course. And so we were changing classrooms a couple days later, and when I went, because remember how we would go to different classrooms to watch a movie or whatever like that. So that's kind of what it was. And so we're changing classrooms to go watch a movie, and he's got these kind of eyes here, but I saw the portrait I did of President Richard Nixon. I saw that up on the wall with this kid's name on it. And I'm like, I drew that. And of course, I got in trouble for lying because the teacher was like, oh, you did not, because this guy, his name on it. Well, he never did tell his sister that I liked her. And so, yeah, he just bamboozled me all the way around, that darn kid. So I learned a lesson right then about how the world takes advantage of artists. I guess I should have thanked him for teaching me that. All right, let's see here. Let's go into his body here. Now, I'm not looking at doing a real hairs here. I'm not looking at doing a real, now I know that the day and age we live in, maybe the pipe isn't such a friendly thing or a politically correct thing to draw anymore. But it is part of his character. And honestly, I don't remember ever seeing him actually smoke through the pipe. I just remember seeing him do, the pipe would twirl around when he'd get mad, or he would, eat his spinach through the pipe like he did in that cartoon we just watched. So let me see here. So besides, this is my own show, and I'll do as it as I likes, right? So let me see here. Popeye's got these skinny little arms at the top from his shoulders. He actually has pretty wide shoulders for such a skinny guy. And then he has these huge forearms. Now, I've had people wonder why his forearms are so huge. And before you start your dirty jokes, remember this is a kid, family friendly show here. So, so we know full well what those jokes would be. But the thing is I would like to say that Popeye's huge forearms come from the fact that he's a sailor, and it comes from winding up rope all day. I don't know I don't know if anybody's been on a boat or a ship or anything that used a lot of rope, and it's usually really heavy hemp rope. And if you've had to, put any of that rope away, it's a workout. So it's all right, TJ. It's all good, man. It's all good. Like I say, this. Let me see. Let's put his sleeves on here. He usually does these rolled up sleeves. Let's do this. Let's do his hand here. Now, like I said before, I'm not looking at doing a perfect drawing or representation. I think I really should put that there. And this isn't going to be like a finished drawing or anything like that. But it is awful nice, I think, to return to draw a character that I've loved so much as a kid. And I've not drawn this character in, wow, 30 years maybe longer. I mean, I've been married for over 30 years, so I don't remember ever drawing this character in the whole time we've been married or anything. That's when you start getting old like me, you start gauging when you've done things by how long you've been married. That's not a bad thing. It's that's pretty happy, Popeye. I like drawing happy Popeyes. I might start drawing. You know, the thing is now too, with Popeye being in the public domain, I'm sure a lot of people are going to start using. I'm sure a lot of people have been using it. I did see an updated version of Popeye online earlier when I was doing some research for this show, and it looked like it was and the updated version of Popeye, instead of a pipe, he had a whistle. So I can respect that. I can see that. I can definitely respect that, because we certainly don't want to teach kids anything about glamorizing, smoking or anything like that, because it's just not a good thing, not a good habit at all. So don't do it. This is just a red pencil. And again, as I was saying last week, the reason that I like to sketch in red is because then later, when it comes time to ink the drawing, then it's easier. It's easier for me at that point. I think I want to make his smile bigger. I remember when I was a kid, when I was just learning really how to draw cartoons and things like that. Like I said, I would draw these cartoons because I would, copy them from comic books and things like that. And that's how a lot of people really learn how to draw. And TJ, I know that you're talking a lot there, and I appreciate it. I'm going to talk to you after the show because I can't see everything that's being said. I can just hear the rings going off behind me. Yeah. So, but I think a lot of people learn how to draw, especially comic book artists learn how to draw from comic books. When we were kids, we would get the comic books, and not only would we read the comic book and really digest it, art art-wise and everything. And then, of course, we would draw it as well. And a lot of people, it was a great way to learn anatomy because, you know, I know a lot of people put down comic book art or comic book artists or you know, but they really shouldn't, because if you don't know anatomy, it's really difficult to be a good comic book artist. You have to know anatomy, and you have to know perspectives, and you have to know line weights and values and volumes and all the things that you have to know in order to be a good painter or a good illustrator, which comic book artists are illustrators. So, you know, and it takes an army of them to make a comic book. Not like a guy like me, who I do everything myself. I do all the pencil work, and I do the ink work, and I do all the coloring. I do it all myself. But when you're doing comic books and things for big companies, they have armies of guys and girls, women, who do each thing separate. One group will do the penciling, the next group will do the inking, the next group will do the coloring, and the next group will do the lettering. So it's all a whole bunch of people. But with me doing DMon comics or all the other things that I do, it's just me. I'm doing it all. Okay. Well, let me see. What I'm doing is I'm just going around and making my lines more bold, and checking my line weights and things like that. I'm just trying to give him a little bit more volume so that he's not just a flat drawing, just a flat character. Let me see here. Oh, I don't get in the way here. Trying not to. So what I do is I just get my sketch on there, sketch it out. You can see all my sketch marks here. If you missed me sketching it, you can go back and watch. And then when I get the sketch looking the way I want it to look, then I'll come back in and start to darken my lines. Again, like I said, that way he's not just a flat drawing. Now, here's the thing, that even if he's a comic book character or a cartoon character, it depends on what kind of a cartoonist or a comic book drawer you want to be. You know, there's something to be said about characters that are flat. Just everything is on one plane and everything, and sometimes that looks good. It depends on the style that you're going for. Me, I always try to give more volume, so that's why you try to think about your angles and everything else, you know, like his fingers, you know. I could just draw them like this. It would just be a flat finger, but what I want to do is I want to make that curve happen right there, see? I want to make that curve happen. I want to make that happen so that it's not just a flat finger. It actually has volume. You can see it going behind this finger, the pinky. You can see this finger going behind it. And I'm going to do the same thing with this finger. Okay, and with the way I do it, I start at the top of that curve, so I can come back. See, and come down, and down. Otherwise, it could just be a flat finger, and I hope that makes sense to anybody who's watching, especially if you're, like I said, if you are wanting to be a cartoonist or an artist, or if you're a child wanting to draw, and you see we're doing the same thing here. We're making this plane right here. We're making a bend around his finger, his thumb, making that bend. And then we're going to bring this down, and that's his fatty part of his, palm there. Same thing with this. Same thing here. Splits. And go ahead and make that little indentation in there, so his pipe actually has a hole in it. Darken things up to push it forward a bit more, to give it a bit more volume. Which is another reason I love using red pencil, because you can build up your lines and everything very well without them really smearing like what happens with just gray graphite number 2 pencils, and up. Even the HB pencils will smear. There's little hairs there. And I know they're probably like, oh, he keeps going over the same lines over and over. Yes, I do. Drawing is not always super fast. And here's the thing too, like I said before, you'll see a lot of art videos out there in the internet. You'll see a lot of people who draw, and you'll see them seemingly racing all over the paper, or a lot of them do a digital now, so you'll see them seemingly racing all over their digital pad, their digital plane, drawing or whatnot, and think, gosh, how are they doing that so fast? Well, 99.99% of the time it's time lapsed, so it's sped up, it's speeded up. Really, this right here is about the fastest you really want to draw. If you're really wanting to think about what you're doing, you don't need to draw any faster than this right here. You can take your time. And I know that if another professional artist would ever watch me here, they'd probably say, oh, you know, I got to draw fast because time is money. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm an extremely busy artist. I'm very busy. The thing that bothers me, a lot of times I can't show anybody what I'm drawing, what I'm doing, what I'm working on while I'm working on it because, I have a non-disclosure clauses and everything else from publishers, so I can't show what I'm doing. And what will happen is I'll go through these long bouts where I may not be posting artwork for a long time, and then all of a sudden I'll just I'll start posting a whole bunch of this because I finally got the okay that I could show what I was doing. Let me see here. Let's give him his anchor tattoo. Give that a little curve there around his forearm. And there we go. Popeye. Like I said, it's not a great finished drawing or anything like that, and it's not meant to be. I just simply wanted to see if I could draw the old fella. It looks like I can. Looks like I can. Trying to see where I want to sign it. That'll work. That'll work. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Oh my goodness. So there we have drawing Popeye, and a lot of fun doing it. Love the old guy. Still love the old guy. It's just still one of my favorite cartoon characters.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add